Great. Now we'll just attach our plumbing to this. We're ready to go.
All right.
The water return fittings can be located on any wall as long as they produce a circular flow pattern on the surface of the water that will help push debris toward the skimmer. After installing the fitting, we leave the fitting faceplate off until the pool liner has been installed and the water is at least 12 inches deep in the shallow end of the pool.
Well, now it's time to get down and start working on the floor of your actual pool, okay? And we can see by the plans, we've got our rough grading 2 inches below the finished level. Now, the way we're going to make up that 2 inches is with the sand and cement mixture, okay? We're going to mix the two together and put them in. And really, the best way to make sure that you've got your levels right, we're going to go in there, we're going to run a bunch of strings, make sure that we're 2 inches above the rough grade, and then when we put our sand in, we'll go right to that string, smooth it out, we'll put in the vinyl. You're getting closer to having a pool. Are you happy?
Yes.
Good. All right, here's some string.
All right.
Let's go to work.
Thank you.
To mark the finished grade for the hopper walls, we run strings from the bottom of the wall panels down to the finished grade height of the hopper. For the shallow end, we measure down from the top of the wall panels to the pool bottom and place a marker. We string a level line between the markers to indicate the finished grade of the bottom. When the strings have been run, we can make the adjustments we need to the rough graded surface. This work is mostly done with hand tools. Remember, there needs to be at least 2 inches of space between the rough grading and the finish level. We need to make sure we remove any stones or rocks from the finished graded surface and that the surface is properly tamped. With the finished grading completed, it's time to place the sand and cement mixture that will act as the base for the vinyl pool liner.
Well, we've got the mixture in there. You turn it on, it mixes it up, you dump it into the wheelbarrow.
Okay.
It's pretty simple.
Good.
All right, folks, now we're ready to start making what's going to be our finished grade. That's right before we put the vinyl in place. And the easy way to keep up with it is you want 5 parts of sand to 1 part of cement, okay? So this will hold about 3 runs of that in our mini mixer here. So 15 shovels of sand to 3 shovels of cement. We turn it on and mix it up, okay? Right. Then we're going to dump it over into the wheelbarrow, take it to the pool. Once we have it in the pool, we'll use some hand tools to smooth it out because this is the last chance you get to get a nice smooth surface before we put the liner in place.
Sounds good.
Okay?
Okay.
Let's go. It's going to be some shoveling.
Okay,
right.
ready.
We won't have to add any water to the sand and cement mix. It will draw moisture in from the ground beneath it that will eventually cause it to harden up nicely.
Okay, Jenny, now that we have our sand cement mixture in place, it's time to smooth it out because this is going to be the last step before we put the liner in. So it's very important that it be smooth, okay?
Okay.
This is our finished grade line right here, which is 2 inches above the rough grade. So we're going to go to that line, all right? And it's just like icing a cake, except you have 2 tools.
Okay.
The first is a magnesium float, okay? That's just for getting the material into position to smooth out. When you go to smoothing it out, we're going to use this. This is called a pool trowel. And there are a lot of different trowels on the market, but you'll notice this is rounded on the edges. That's so that those corners don't dig into this mixture as we're trying to move it around. So the idea is to keep it as smooth as possible. And another little trick, when you're out there working, rather than put a handprint down in it that you have to fix later, you can use this magnesium float to actually lean on and then bring the mixture towards you and smooth it out.
All right.
Okay? Let's go.
Okay.
To save us some effort when we add more of the sand-cement mixture, we can dump it near the area to be troweled. A certain amount will roll down, but the part of the load that doesn't make it to the proper place will be easy to rake down. Remember that the smoothness and evenness of the bottom will determine the appearance of the liner when it's placed in the pool.
We're getting closer to filling our pool. When we come back, we'll install the liner and we'll start the filling process. We also have some trim work to do around the stairs, the skimmer, and the lights. There's much more to come, so stay with us. Mark, Jenny, today's the day you've been waiting for.
All right.
This is your pool liner, and it's a vinyl pool liner, so it was a really good idea to keep it inside because it's a soft material, so obviously the warmer you can keep it, the easier it is to work with. But the steps that we're going to do now, we're going to need a little help because it's heavy. We're going to spread this out over the pool, lower it down into the pool. We'll actually take the air out from underneath it to get a nice suction all the way around, make it good and tight, and then we're going to fill it up with water.
All right.
All right, we've got a few steps first, but let's get this over there, all right?
Okay, let's do it.
Before we install the pool liner, there are a few things we need to do. We need to be sure the pool bottom is free of any stones, sticks, and footprints. We need to make sure the liner track and the sidewalls are free of any dirt or abrasive materials. And we use duct tape to seal all the wall panel joints and seams to aid in the vacuum process.
Okay, it's time to put your liner in your pool.
Great.
I know. And once again, the folks at Hydropool have thought of everything. They even tell you how to set the box down and where to set the box down. It says, place at the deep end, arrow facing pool. We're at the deep end, the arrow's facing the pool. Our next step is we've put a board here, sort of a platform to help us to give us surface as we unroll it, and then we just pull it across the pool. So let's you and I get it into position.
All right.
Okay. Go.
Once the liner has been carefully placed on the pool bottom, we can begin the task of snapping the liner bead into the liner track. After the liner bead is completely installed in the liner track, adjust the liner in the pool corners as required to achieve a smooth, loose fit in the corners. Then we turn on the vacuum.
All right, that's good. So you can see that I've sealed off the top of the skimmer here, right? We've run our hose through the skimmer, and our access point is through the opening of the skimmer down underneath the vinyl. What we're going to do is turn on this vacuum and suck all the air out from below the vinyl, okay?
Sounds good.
This part's really difficult, but that red button right there starts everything.
Okay.
Now we wait.
As the suction starts to pull the liner down, we continually adjust the fit by pulling the excess material on the floor toward the base of the pool walls. If we can't get all the wrinkles out, we shut off the vacuum, reposition the liner in the pool, turn the vacuum back on, and start the process all over again. When the liner is pulled down snugly with no wrinkles, we're ready to finish installing the main drain. By feel, we locate the screw holes in the top of the main drain under the liner. With the gasket in place, we screw the faceplate to the main drain following the manufacturer's instructions. Carefully, we use a razor knife to cut the liner material inside the main drain frame and install the main drain cover. We begin filling the pool with a low-pressure water source like a garden hose. Once there is 6 inches of water in the hopper, that's the lowest part of the pool, the remainder of the pool can be filled using a higher pressure source of water from a water truck or hydrant. Remember, it's very important to not let any strong stream of water directly hit the pool bottom.
Anytime you exert pressure on one side of a wall, it's important to try to equalize that pressure on the other side of the wall, and the same is true of our swimming pool. As the water level starts to rise, we need to backfill all the way around the exterior of the swimming pool just to try to keep equal pressure on both sides. Now, when we go to backfill this area, we're going to come all the way up to the top of this K-brace, so that's going to be a lot of dirt that we're going to bring into this area. Obviously, if you have a piece of machinery like we do, it's a lot faster, it's a lot easier, but it can be done the old-fashioned way with a wheelbarrow and shovel.
When the water level is about 2 feet above the wall panel bottom, we attach the skimmer, returns, and the pool light faceplates with their gaskets to the already installed wall fittings. Using a sharp knife, we remove the vinyl lining that is within the returns and skimmer, and in the case of the light fixture, we follow the manufacturer's installation instructions for completion. Another task to complete when the water level reaches 6 inches in the shallow end is to finish the step installation. We install the step gaskets and faceplates using stainless steel screws and, following the manufacturer's instructions, carefully use a razor knife to cut out the liner material inside the step faceplates.
Mark, Jenny, we're awfully close to having your Hydropool system finished.
Great.
However, it's just a pond in the backyard until you actually hook up the mechanics that make it a swimming pool, recycle the water, and filter it. And it all starts with having proper power. We had a pro come in and install a new box to make sure that everything's got plenty of power.
Right.
How does this system work?
Well, it's actually very simple. The pump is what pulls the water out of the pool, both from the skimmer on top and the main drain on bottom.
Okay.
Pumps it out, brings it through a filter, and then it comes back out through a chlorinator, runs back out to the pools through the lines that we've already installed.
What kind of filter does it have?
It's a sand filter. And the easy way to keep up with this, the sand does have to be changed, but it's 300 pounds of sand, and you should change it every 3 years. I mean, over time it fills up with suntan lotion and debris and things like that, so it's just a good idea to clean it out. It's actually very simple. This comes off, you just dig it out, put in new sand after you wash it out and make sure it's clean, seal it back up, you're ready to go again.
Okay.
Okay. You guys ready to hook this up? Now, I've noticed that you've already done some work on the pipes here, so you ready to just continue it all into this?
Yes.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
We finish installing the pump and filter system along with remaining plumbing. For this project, we're using standard PVC piping. However, some installations may use flexible hose instead. We test the system before continuing to fill the pool with water and then bring the Hydro Pools project to completion.
Having been through that process with the step-by-step and been involved in each step of the process, I feel like I understand the structure of the pool a lot better and have a higher level of confidence in the structural integrity of the pool, just how it all is pieced together.
I think it's even more satisfying knowing that we did part of the work ourselves and that we invested some of our own sweat in the process.